Hello. Today's video is on the importance hierarchy of financial topics, or what you should learn first to make optimal financial gains. What should be your focus in the first weeks you want to educate yourself on finance. But without further ado, let's start with a small meme. And I find this one here quite interesting, as it illustrates pretty good how wrong the priorities of most people are nowadays. Well, saving 95% on a Steam game might be nice, but the advantage of that is actually quite minuscule. You should focus on different things to make optimal financial gains. But without further ado, let's dig into the hierarchy. Well, first of all, the absolutely most important thing when it comes to finance is gathering actual knowledge on finance. You should have a solid foundation on the principles out there in the financial world. You should have read a few books, maybe followed a few YouTube channels, and, well, to be honest, really educated yourself for at least a year, maybe, before you actually start doing such things. You can do some safe things that all people recommend, like investing in ETFs, but when you try to do something more risky, you should really be educated on what you do. All the other people out there, all the fund managers and ETF managers and whatnot, pretty much the whole financial industry and 95% of all private investors know more than you do. And you can only capitalize on random effect in the market. When you invest at some point and make some financial gains, that's not because you made a pretty smart decision, it's because the market goes up 95% of the time, and the money loss takes place in the moments it does not. You should be very wary about those things. Okay, but what comes next? The next thing is that you should get rid of bad debt. That means that you should get rid of all debt that is more than what an ETF would yield you, aka your credit card debt, or pretty much any private loans that are more than 5% or something like that. Credit card debt can be really crippling, and many people have a very bad relationship to such kinds of things. You should make sure that you pay off your credit card each month in full. There should never be anything on the card that means that the credit card company can gain money from you. The rates they charge on a credit card that isn't paid full are abysmal. It's something like 14 to 20% each month, and that's really something you do not want to work against you. You want to have a compound effect of interest that works for you, not against you. This is pretty much that you are the compound effect of interest for some other person. And a really good one, to be honest, because everyone out there would kill pretty much for a return of 20% each year, let alone each month. Okay, but what is the next most important thing? The next most important thing is that you should maintain a low-cost lifestyle. Most of your money will be spent on things like housing or eating and, well, pretty much hobbies and the like. It's probably 50% of your money that goes away like that. And if you manage to keep your lifestyle costs low, you will have the ability to sustain low costs up until you are pretty much 40 or something. No one really expects you to be rich or have a fancy lifestyle below the age of 30 or 40. So why should you get used to such a thing? It burns money in the long run. It's fine to enjoy yourself from time to time, but you really shouldn't make an effort to increase your standard of living by too much, because it just means that you can save less and invest less, and in the end have less money that works for you. The next step on the hierarchy is that you should increase your income, and opposed to the opinion of many people that just focus on investing advice, this one is quite important. You can increase your income pretty much indefinitely, while you can only save 100% of your money pretty much. You should always focus on getting more income, because that's one of the variables you can actually control. A savings rate of 60 to 90% sounds nice on paper, but if you only earn $1,000 each month, that's next to nothing. You could, well, have a pretty enjoyable life and still save the same amount of money if you just increased your income. This is a very overlooked factor in my opinion. It's very, very good to actually focus on this one. And the next thing is that you should probably invest in ETFs. Most people out there do not possess the emotional stability and the, well, pretty much intelligence and financial education to actually make judgment calls on single stocks. You can have luck one time, you can have luck 2 times, you can maybe even have luck 10 times, but at some point in the future, if you are not educated and not emotionally stable, you will probably bet all your money on a few risky stocks and lose it all in the long run. There is a reason why pretty much no one keeps a good track record in investing for more than 10 years. Because they will lose the money once the debt cycle reaches its end. And they cannot tell when that will happen, since they just extrapolate the past and have no idea what is going on in the background. If they would have gathered knowledge on finance properly, they would have known what to expect. But they didn't. And if you just gamble on stocks, you will lose it at some point. That's just the law of large numbers. So ETFs are probably the most safe investment, and that's where most people should keep their money. And then at the very pinnacle of the pyramid, we have saving more money. Yes, it is actually quite unimportant. You should save money, no question about it, but it should not be your priority. The other things will have more savings pretty much as a default. When you have a lower lifestyle cost, for example, and a low standard of living, you will have money left at the end of the month. If you have no bad debt, you will have more money left at the end of each month. If you increase your income, you will have more money left at the end of each month. You don't have to actively try to save if you do the other things correctly. You can if you want to optimize pretty much, but it's a very small part of the pyramid that actually deals with saving more money. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the financial hierarchy. But let's now come to a summary. What are the takeaway points? Beginners first tend to mix up their priorities pretty bad. They never ever do the right thing at the right time. They want to get rich fast, and getting rich fast means that someone has to pay you for the money you invest. And the only way someone pays you large amounts of money is that you take huge amounts of risk that you will lose in almost all cases, except for some very lucky few individuals. So they opt in for some options trading or cryptocurrencies or gambling in general, or pretty much any of those things where pretty much no one wins but a very chosen few people. Okay, the next thing is that you should never ever get bad debt. Pleasure shopping can wait and won't make you happy anyway. You should not get credit card debt to, I don't know, buy a fancy new game on Steam or some fancy new piece of clothing or anything like that. And a lot of things are much more important than saving. For example, increasing your income. In the end, it is all about the constant amount of money that is left at the end of each month that you can save. It is nice when you can boast with a savings rate of 70%, but if that's only $500, then that's not very good. A person that earns, I don't know, $5,000 each month can save twice or 3 or 4 times that much with a lower savings rate and still be much better off than you. Increase your income, focus on that, and then increase your savings rate if you really want to. And the next thing is that you should acquire time-tested habits and principles and be consistent over a long period of time. You should not go for all those new fancy advices out there. The very basics of investing never really change. You should not be too greedy, as greed leads to bad decisions, for example. You should stay consistent and don't let emotions rule your behavior. When you stick to those things, chances are that you will be successful in the market for the long run. And the actual investing part, if you do it with the simple ETF style, is that simple. You just take your money each month and put it in an ETF. And that's it. There's pretty much nothing that can go wrong over the time horizon of 30 years if the ETF, for example, is diversified over a large number of companies. And in summary, spend time with the habits, skills and principles that have the highest investment to reward ratio. Focus on the lower parts of the pyramid first and then progress upwards as you gather more financial knowledge. That is the most optimal way to go for things. Okay, and that's pretty much it for today. I hope you learned something, and if you like this style of video, feel free to leave a like and maybe a comment. And if you do not agree with everything I said on this video, let me know in the comment section. But until then, I wish you a pleasant day and goodbye.